Thragtusks, a Craterhoof Behemoth, but he's also very able to be aggressive with, you know, Lingering Souls. Bloodless Troll acts as both an aggressive piece as well as a discard outlet for him.
Yep, and 2 copies of Lingering Souls, Grizzly Savage, Ultimate Price on Burial Rites, Abrupt Decay, and Oblivion Ring.
Yep.
So his deck's actually got is not the pure, you know, control style Reanimator decks that John Wade has been piloting,
yep.
who's now undefeated, but obviously 6-0-1, quite successful himself.
Yep. So Toby, on the right there, playing Junk Reanimator, had the play. His first 2 plays were some green-black lands. Jacob has all 3 of his colors, and he's going to play a Farseek. He is also on 6 cards, it should be noted.
We're going to go get a Temple Garden. And unlike most of these lists that are often fetching for more blue-white duels to facilitate Dissipate plus blue spells in the same turn, because of the presence of Garruk in his deck, he's actually looking for green lands first.
Yes. Yeah, he is slightly more green-heavy. Most of these decks only have Farseek and Thragtusk.
Yes.
And maybe something else.
Selesnya Charm is...
So, but this deck has Selesnya Charm and Garruk as its other green sources. It also should try to activate its Alchemist's Refuge, although it only needs the 1 green mana for that. Toby has a Cavern of Souls. We will let you know what that is naming shortly. In the meantime, he is casting Lotleth Troll.
A card that came in the format with a lot of
fanfare.
Hype.
Yeah.
Yep. Certainly the expectations was that black-green zombies would be a dominant deck, and the metagame hasn't quite shaven out that way just yet, but clearly doing some good work in Toby's list.
Yep. I think 2 of the first 3 top 8 weekends for Star City Games had at least 1 green-black zombies deck. So it's not like it's absent from the metagame, but it certainly isn't the house that people were expecting. I remember talking to 10K champion Lauren Nolan and 10K champion Adam Prozac, and they said that in their testing there was absolutely nothing that could beat a Lotleth Troll backed up by a Golgari Charm.
Sure.
And that has not been found to be the case.
Yes.
So the 2/1 is going to go in, dealing 1 damage from Jace.
After Jace +1 on the previous turn.
The Cavern is naming Beast, by the way. This Cavern, likely naming Angel, I would guess. Yep. He has 4 Restoration Angels in his deck, as well as 2 Angel of Serenity. Jacob's going to drop to 18 from this Hollowed Fountain.
Assuming we're going to be seeing a Thragtusk here.
Safe guess. First, we're going to Fact or Fiction, revealing Think Twice, Sun Petal Grove, and another Jace. Jace is going to be in its own pile, I would imagine.
Yeah, certainly after Jacob has already made his land drop, Jace is definitely the most valuable card in that pile.
Detention Sphere on Lotleth Troll, so no Thragtusk. Now, that's interesting because Toby does have 4 mana available and does have an Angel Cavern.
Yeah,
but Jacob went for it anyway.
Yeah, that play is quite risky if Restoration Angel was at the ready.
Yeah. Now, Detention Sphere does say May on it. Oh, he has the Abrupt Decay, so not too bad.
Yep.
Detention Sphere, unlike Oblivion Ring, says May, so he would not have had to have removed his own Jace. He could have had he chosen.
Yeah.
Depending on if he had read the card, but luckily we weren't faced with that eventuality. The Jace is going to hit the bottom.
Yeah, they're just resolving the Jace from the previous turn.
Yep.
So I assume the Troll is going to be finishing off Jace here.
Toby has 3 Thragtusks in his hand, and no lands to play them just yet. In the meantime, Jacob casts a Think Twice, as Bank Control is wont to do.
Sort of an interesting dynamic of a lot of the games I've been watching today is even if both decks have a full playset of Thragtusks, and we see this on Jacob's side, the more controlling deck definitely gets a lot more power and value out of its Thragtusk than the attacking deck does.
Yes.
Because the gain 5 life isn't too exciting from the attacking deck's perspective, but the control deck values that life very much. Alright, so we'll see a Grizzly Savage here. Presumably looking for a land.
Oh, and it's not only going to find a land, but it's also going to put the Hoof and the Unburial Rites in the graveyard. That's a nice little grizzly salvage. Picking Isolated Chapel. Also putting, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, putting the one Garrick also in the graveyard.
I assume we're going to be looking at Oblivion Ring on Thragtusk here. Not the best situation, but Toby's hand is kind of exposed to Restoration Angel shenanigans. Okay,
Ooh,
but he's just going to let it ride for now. Just leave his troll back on D, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah, and the Thragtusk cannot really attack at all because Toby can just chump block it and regenerate. And if he so chooses, he could discard one of those many Thragtusks.
And the presence of Sphinx's Revelation and Jacob's both in his deck and in his hand means he's pretty happy just playing this waiting game. As long as he's not under any duress, eventually Sphinx's Revelation is gonna bury Toby. So
Thragtusk resolving for Toby. Eventually, all these Thragtusks are going to be in play. The Unburial Rites is going to be a must counter.
So yeah, this is the
Jacob actually does not have main deck counterspells, so it just doesn't even matter.
That is a big Sphinx's Revelation right there, and that card more than any other.
Tidings that gains 4.
Is why Toby is under some pressure to be the aggressive player in this matchup. I think there's a Supreme Verdict in Jacob's hand now.
Yes, there is.
A lot of lands, but some Think Twices, a Wrath, and a Snapcaster.
The Supreme Verdict, not very good, of course. It would only turn the Thragtusks into 3/3s since Toby could just reanimate his Lotless Troll.
So happy to just pass the turn back.
Jake, more Snapcasters and Think Twices in his hand.
Yep. Late on action, even though he has drawn a bunch of cards.
So what do you think of Lotless Troll used as discard outlet in this deck, as opposed to as threat?
I do like it. I think, you know, the problem that I have with some of the Reanimator decks is just against the control decks, you're often all in on your Unburial Rites package, which may not resolve. And against the beatdown decks, you spend a lot of time kind of fidgeting around before you can get set up. And you're taking a bunch of damage potentially from your Ravnica duels.
Yeah.
So the Troll both allows you to have an aggressive element against the controlling decks and to have a defensive element against the attacking decks.
Yeah, I think that the defensive elements of Lotless Troll are actually very impressive. When I saw that card, I thought, you know, this is a card that is clearly, you know, meant to be attacking. It's a 2/1 Trampler for 2 that gets really big.
Yeah.
But it regenerates. It's a discard outlet. It does a lot of the little things.
Just sort of does it all.
Yeah. A lot like Thragtusk, which a third one comes on the board. And not an unfamiliar sight in Standard.
Yes, there's definitely a relationship between Thragtusk cast and duration of game. So you may want to settle in for a long one here.
Yep.
And there's an Angel of Serenity, just a huge draw.
Yep.
Toby
is going to eventually be able to get this Craterhoof Behemoth out of his graveyard, though, and that, as much inevitability as Angel gives you, Craterhoof Behemoth just doesn't even care.
Yeah, definitely Jacob has to be, especially with the absence of permission in his list, he has to be very careful about randomly just getting punked out by Craterhoof Behemoth.
Yeah.
Fortunately for him, all the information's kind of on the table. And
quite literally, actually.
Yes. He also has Azorius Charm, which can cover him a little bit against a potential Alpha Strike.
I'm not so sure how much we want to be Azorius Charm and Craterhoof Behemoth. But...
Oh, no.
Or Thragtusk, for that matter. But yeah, I see your point. So he could do it here.
Well, I think this attack represents that he wants to fire off a Supreme Verdict.
Ah, okay. I see. Yeah, all right.
So, okay, we're going to start there. And that actually makes me a little bit dubious of Toby's block, because I probably would have been happy to just trade off
Thragtusk. I was a little confused there as well. That seems poor.
I mean, it's hard to say. He's down a beast the other way, so I don't know which one he values higher.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. I guess if he wants to keep the beasts around.
He also might just be happy you're getting the Supreme Verdict out, because if they just trade Thragtusk, then
Then
Jacob
he doesn't cast the Supreme Verdict.
Jacob, all right, sure, this is fine.
That's a good point too. No, you're right. Toby's play makes sense, I guess. If he's,
it's just a lot of different things being weighed there.
yeah, a lot of different
pros and cons.
The value. It depends on what he values. I guess Toby's game plan at this point, it was to just get the Supreme Verdict away, as opposed to going for one big turn.
Yeah. But I think he's going to need a big turn to...
He's going to need a big turn anyway.
Yeah.
Jacob's at 27. Even a Crater Hoof is not going to do it by itself.
All right, so it looks like we're getting back Crater Hoof Behemoth.
And Toby is more than okay with Crater Hoof Behemoth getting Azorius Charmed. Crater Hoof Behemoth, a card that's getting a lot of press this weekend because of Brad Nelson, Josh Utter-Layton, and I believe Luis Scott Vargas is also playing that deck.
Oh, down in the Grand Prix in Charleston.
The Grand Prix in Charleston. There's Crater Hoof Behemoth. Avacyn Restored Mythic Beast. 5/5 haste when it comes into play. You tromp the domains for the number of creatures you have.
I was going to say that you Coat of Arms.
Okay, you Coat of Arms with Trample. I like it.
But
you Coat of Arms if everything you have is a shapeshifter. Or
right.
Whatever.
So ideally, how Jacob would want to handle this turn is to basically, he doesn't want to Angel the Behemoth because there's a risk involved there.
Yeah.
So he can survive this turn without having to...
he's going to take 17 and go to 10, I bet.
Right, so he's got a cushion here. Now he can untap and just Angel away the tokens and leave the Behemoth if he doesn't want to incur that risk. Or he can just sweep it away and still probably be safe. With Azorius Charm in hand, I don't know if I'm more inclined to leave it there. It's a...
I probably would have put a Beast on top.
Well, I think if you survive the attack, you'd rather just save the Azorius Charm for another situation, because it's not like Toby's going to burn you out. You can afford to take this hit.
So here's the Angel. Let's see what he chooses here. We're going to take out...
Okay, so he's just going to take the Behemoth
take everything
and
out.
Start clocking, I guess.
Oh, he's going to get his own Thragtusk back.
Okay, yes. This seems much better.
All right.
Because now he has insurance even if something goes wrong. With Azorius Charm in hand, I would probably send the Beast in.
Yeah, you got to start chipping away at some point, right?
Yep.
Toby's at 30. I think that's probably... I mean, if he has another Crater Hoof Behemoth, he's just dead anyway.
No, he has Azorius Charm covers it, right? Because he has Angel Bat to block.
Oh, yeah, I guess so, sure. Perhaps discussing a judge question here? I'm not sure.
Maybe if he has to Detention Sphere his own Beast away, maybe it's a question about card name.
I see. Oh, they're trying to figure out if he played a land. He did indeed play a land this turn. I remember specifically him playing the Hinterland Harbor.
Yes. But yeah, with Azorius Charm in hand, I'm inclined to send the Beast, but he's just going to pass back.
Play it safe. Yep. I guess it doesn't add a turn to a clock.
Well, it's hard to project what that clock's actually going to look like with Toby at 30, presumably with a bunch of draw steps.
Yeah. This is our X01 bracket, so both of these players, seeing as how long this game is going, it shouldn't be too surprising that both of these players have a draw already.
Yes. The Thragtusk Unburial right decks have a habit of going pretty long.
I was discussing with JR earlier that this format is surrounding Thragtusk, and Thragtusk is the fairest card.
Yeah.
In terms of the definition of the word fair in Magic currently, but when you put all of the fair things together, it becomes unfair.
Yeah, but I still feel like the formats. I mean, we've had some beatdown decks on camera that just blow these decks out of the water before they get their shop set up.
Right.
So I think there's still plenty of room to be building. But yes, once the engine starts going, it feels can feel pretty unfair. And another Angel of Serenity off the top for Jacob here.
Seems reasonable.
Hard for it to be a bad draw. Has been my my appreciation of the day. If you have the mana to cast it, is generally the best thing your deck can draw.
Yep. Last round we had back-to-back Angels off the top to win game 2, which was pretty nice.
All right, so Detention Sphere is going to knock out the Oblivion Ring, which allows the Angel to come back.
It's just going to sweep Toby's side of the board.
Yeah, he's going to set the Thragtusk underneath of it.
Just about 1,000,000 cards in hand for Jacob.
Yeah, pretty close to a full grip. I think he still has a Snapcaster in hand as well.
He's probably going to save that for the Revelation later.
Ideally, yeah. He also has the ability to Azorius Charm, Snapcaster Azorius Charm to ruin combat for Toby if he tries another Crater Hoof Behemoth fueled alpha. So Jacob really turning the game around here, starting to set up. I mean, he's got a long way to go to close the game out, and Toby's got a lot of big draws in his deck, but he's definitely ahead on the board and has a little bit more of a life cushion to work with now.
Yeah, Toby is going to need to put some more creatures on the board before he even plays a Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Yeah.
So he's going to need to find one of his 2 Lingering Souls to really make it an effective Crater Hoof Behemoth, I think.
Yeah. And the Azorius Charms are going to be horrible for him when he actually makes that move.
Yeah, Toby actually is not really in a great spot considering how big of a hand and how much mana he has available. He just hasn't put enough stuff. Like, he put the wrong things in the graveyard. He hasn't found a Lingering Souls. Abrupt Decay is not great in this matchup.
Yeah.
Although the Oblivion Ring taking out the Angel stops the loop, at least, if he had another Angel in hand.
Yes. But it's very risky to run that play because with Jacob having Detention Sphere in his
sure.
deck, that's a pretty devastating comes into play trigger. So
not able to find one, though. Lots of lands for Jacob. Jacob not in current danger of dying, I guess.
Yeah.
This is an interesting attack.
I mean, it could just be another representation of Revelation.
Right. This is just Snapcaster Revelation for 7, or possibly a Terminus. Oh, this is just going to be Snapcaster Supreme Verdict.
That seems like it's a little too soon to be making that play, given how much value the Snapcaster is worth potentially.
Yeah. Oh, there's another Angel Serenity. Forgot about that. There it is. What do we say when Angel Serenity comes into play?
I don't know.
It's hard to be a bad draw, right?
Yeah, it's hard to be a bad draw. So he's going to set both his Thragtusk and Toby's Thragtusk underneath of it.
Interesting.
The reason to set his own is it's sort of a hedge again against the
O-ring.
The O-ring or a kill spell or something.
Sure.
It's not like having a 5-power guy versus a 3-power guy appreciably changes his clock, and it gives him, again, a lot more insurance in case Toby has a way to kill it.
Six mana. He's set aside here.
All right.
Or 3 mana he's set aside here for
a little late to the party.
Ranger. Yeah. Drawing the wrong half of our deck now. I guess he's not unhappy to be going and getting another land and throwing another guy into play, but Angel can take over a game quick, even if you're at 29.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, he needs one of his big draws to claw back in. And, again, that Snapcaster Mage, still in Jacob's hand, just provides him so much flexibility and insurance against a number of things. If he gets a sufficient cushion, he can get his Revelation back. He has Supreme Verdict in case things get off the rails. He can protect himself from Crater Hoof Behemoth with Azorius Charm. I mean, a lot of utility that card's providing him.
That sleeve looks quite bacony to me. Does that look bacony to you?
Which sleeve?
The top of his deck, top of Toby's deck.
It could just be glare.
Oh, okay.
Often that is glare.
All right.
I doubt a sleeve is that marked and is.
Yeah, I would have. That's why I was questioning it. I was just
evaded the
weird
watchful eye of his opponents all day long.
Sure, sure. So in the meantime, locks it on Smiter for Toby. Elephant Soldier comes into play.
A Thragtusk for Jacob. And yeah, this is what you were saying about the wrong half of the deck. Toby's drawing a lot of his
quick early beaters.
Yeah, the stuff that's supposed to cobble together his powerful late game now. I assume we just send Angel and then cast a Thragtusk.
Yeah. It's gotten band control this far. Why would you deviate from the game plan?
Yeah. And there is Thragtusk. Sending Jacob up to 17 again, providing more cushion against the behemoth. More insurance against any number of things.
Yep. A Crater Hoof does do it, though, right?
Not with the Azorius Charm and the flashback.
not with the Azorius Charm.
I mean, he's going to push here, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to go for it, but this is not going to... This combat's... I mean, he's going to make some
Assuming
inroads.
if Toby thinks that there isn't Azorius Charm, or even if he doesn't think it, he just has to do it anyway.
Well, once you've cast it, you can't not attack.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be like, Crater Hoof Behemoth, go.
Yep.
Just 2? Really? Oh, okay. All of them get +4/+4 and trample, so we got a 9/9, an 8/8, 6/6, 7/7. 6, 7, 8, 9 on their way in.
So yeah, I think we're gonna just so that they're 8/8, 8/8, 9/9.
That's 30 damage.
6/6, 7/7.
30 power is attacking Jacob. He has 9 toughness. So, assuming he doesn't have Azorius Charm, which he has,
8.
he would die. So he can either...
Well, I think your best sequence in the abstract is to Azorius Charm the Beast and the Smiter.
Well, you can also gain lifelink.
I think he probably just wants to make inroads on his board right here. I think the best sequence, just in the abstract, assuming that he has enough of a life total to protect himself, is to Azorius Charm the Beast and the Smiter, and shove everything in front of the Borderland Ranger. That means that he's redrawing a Smiter next turn, which isn't particularly good. You clear off the Beast, the Borderland Ranger is in the graveyard, and the Crater Hoof Behemoth is safely in play.
The 5/5 is safely in play.
Right. Not anything you have to worry about.
Ooh.
Being reanimated.
Okay.
This is also fine, I think. Again, there's some risk in putting Behemoth in the graveyard.
I would agree.
But I assume we are...
Does Toby have any ultimate price or anything like that he could do here? He's got Abrupt Decay.
He does have ultimate price.
He does have ultimate price.
He has 2 copies.
Okay, so he could theoretically be trampling over here with some of the Crater Hoof if he so chose. But no. So what's...
Is it just taking the full...
So what's this Azor... Oh, the Azorius Charm gave lifelink, like I said.
Okay.
So he's going to gain 9. No. 11. Going to 28. And he's going to take 21. So he will go to 7? Am I correct there?
Yeah, and this is sort of surprising to me because it feels like you want to make some inroads on his board.
I agree.
When the threat of Unburial Rites is still there, it seems dangerous to both kill his behemoth and not do anything about the creatures that are in play. That seems like a dangerous way of mapping this out.
Yeah, especially considering he doesn't really have any way to prevent it from happening. So he goes to 5. All right.
And now he has to say go.
Ew. That's rough.
So now Unburial Rites is just...
Yeah, Unburial Rites is it. He just does it if he has Unburial Rites or Crater Hoof. Also, Ultimate Price or Abrupt Decay does it, right? Although Jacob still has the Snapcaster.
Yeah, he still has Snapcaster Azorius Charm, so it doesn't...
Snapcaster Supreme or Sphinx's Revelation, right? For 1 billion.
Oh, we're still on his turn. Okay, I thought he passed the turn back.
So we're going to Revelation for...
Oh, no, he just
11.
said go. Sorry, Toby said go, and now we're doing this at the end of the turn.
Yeah. So this is drawing 11, gaining 11. It's quite reasonable play.
I think we're a little... I think it might be only, not only, in quotes, only 9. So we pay 2 for the Snapcaster, 3 up front, and then the 9. Still...
Only 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So Toby didn't draw anything, didn't attack with anything. Which gave Jacob a free...
Yeah, he could not reanimate the behemoth that turn, so he just had to pass it back.
Didn't look like Jacob drew much. A couple Farseeks.
I think he has another Revelation in his hand.
Does he? Oh, he did hit another Revelation. And a Terminus.
Right.
Not sure he wants to Terminus.
Yeah, he's low. He's pretty loath to Terminus here, given that, obviously the Angel comes back and gives his opponent a Thragtusk in hand. So we have multiple Farseeks in hand. Not sure how much we're in need for...
For more lands, yeah.
Okay.
It's only fair that Jacob drew the wrong half of his deck also. Those late game Farseeks match up nicely with those late game Borderland Rangers.
Right.
Can't really get a great look at everything in his hand. He certainly has Sphinx's Revelation,
And
double
Azorius Charm.
Farseek, Azorius Charm, lots of lands. So we're going to swing with everything.
Aggressive.
Okay. Yeah, very aggressive. I'm not really sure what the plan... I guess he's just going to Terminus.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Is this after damage? Azorius Charm his own angel after
Yes.
damage, and then Terminus?
Yep.
That's kind of awesome.
I can get behind it, and then you can actually cast the Thragtusk too.
Yeah.
Well, I assume he has enough mana to.
Oh, yeah, he does. Here's
Okay.
Terminus, and here's Thragtusk. Wow, that's cute.
I can get behind that play.
Yeah. Had we been sitting in his chair and seen the cards in his hand, maybe we would have seen it. But
Yeah. A nice sequence.
I like it. Yeah, that's a cool play.
The rarely seen Azorius Charm, my own guy.
Yep. Well, he'd already done the rarely seen Angel of Serenity, my own Thragtusk in play.
Sure. Yeah.
So we're going to discard a couple of Temple Gardens. And guess
So-
what? It's turn billion, and both players have Thragtusk.
Yep.
There's something wrong with Standard, in my opinion, when like players are still playing lands at like turn 17,
Yeah.
and people are still playing Thragtusk and still around 20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cards like Sphinx's Revelation and Syncopate
Yeah.
definitely compel
Certainly
both
Sphinx's
players.
Revelation. Sphinx's Revelation and Centaur Healer and Thragtusk, life gain has never been more playable. And
Yeah.
Azorius Charm, for that matter.
Sure. I mean, we saw this in the previous Ravnica with Fetters and Hierarch making a big influence, but it was never the defining interaction of the format like
Yeah.
it is currently.
On guard. The Swag Tusks are going to trade. Did Jacob just not want his beast, or...
I mean, it sounded like Toby was making it seem like he missed a trigger.
Oh, all right.
I'm not sure.
He got...
Okay.
Oh, nope, there it is. They were just pulling out the token out of the box.
Oh, sure.
Maybe.
So are we just not... What's going on here?
He's casting an angel.
We're going to set 2 Thragtusk and a Snapcaster underneath. It's fine. Not shabby.
I like it. Yeah, when the Junk Reanimator deck is losing the Angel of Serenity battle,
Yeah.
it's not good news.
Well, a lot of this is just Sphinx's Revelation. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime the board's stable, like we saw, he just gets to pull ahead. Guaranteed, not predicated on any other moving parts. He just gets to do it. We had 1 land, nothing left to Farseek for.
Failed to find with Farseek. There's Jamie in the background. Jamie was on camera a couple rounds ago.
Yeah, playing Jund Control.
Our legally blind Jund Control player. I wanted to do a deck tech with him just so that I could deck tech his sleeves
Sure.
that had the braille on them.
Yep.
They were awesome. I also really wanted his deck to just be like foil Japanese. just cause.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
All right. So now it
Toby
finally
has run
feels like
completely out of gas. Jacob's on all cylinders, has a full grip.
basically also pretty close to no lands left in the deck.
Yeah. Getting to the point where he could theoretically be able to deck himself with Sphinx's Revelation, should he so choose. Yeah, he's going to make sure he doesn't do that. Just do it for like 6. How does 6 sound? 7
You
maybe?
might have got it. No, 6.
Oh man,
It's
I
like-
called it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it right out of thin air.
Still got it.
Still got it, boys. I don't know why 6 sounded like the right number. Ooh, big Garrick. Yeah. If it wasn't over before, certainly is now. Garrick Primal Hunter.
I assume we're gonna just make a beast here.
Beast Factory for the rest of the game.
And I think we're gonna be moving to discard in a moment.
That's right. And Jacob, who was in single digits at one point, at 25 and quite comfortably ahead.
Yeah, and this is why I'm a little dubious of these control decks that aren't banned, like the Reanimator style decks especially, is it feels like if you're playing with a bunch of the same tools, the deck with Sphinx's Revelation has a huge edge.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Well, Toby's deck has a somewhat bit of a combo element to it with the Craterhoof Behemoth, Lingering Souls sort of plan. And his deck is also not entirely a control deck. He's got the Lotless Trolls, Restoration Angels to be able to try and play a pseudo-aggro game plan, which would have worked had he done it this game, because Jacob did not have an early Farseek. He does not have Centaur Healers. So had it come to play, he could have, played a slightly different game. Unfortunately, he was greatly overmatched.
Yeah. We're going to see Selesnya Charm on the blocked beast here.
Making 5/5 trample, taking out the 4/4. The 3/3s are going to trade. Also, Angel of Serenity came in. Big old 5/6 flyer. Jacob has a Detention Sphere in hand.
Pretty good.
Toby found a Borderland Ranger.
Pretty good.
That's going to swing things drastically in his favor. Especially because it didn't find a basic land.
I'm a little surprised when you're playing like these slow matchups. I'd be if
I would just
dead.
You want to have as much time left for games 2 and 3 because you got to win 2 games. Game 1 took half an hour.
Yeah, and a draw is effectively a draw knocks you out of top 8 also.
Yeah.
Because they're XO1, correct?
Yeah, they are both XO1. Toby would go to XO2. 2 unintentional draws, probably not going to make top 8. He'll probably get like 10th, especially because we have 397, and the cutoff for 10 rounds is 402.
So yeah, we're already high for 9 rounds.
We're already real high for 9 rounds. Like we said, we had 2 21-pointers, 2 19-pointers. 18-pointers go from 5th place all the way down to 22nd.
Yeah.
That's a lot of 18-pointers.
Right, so...
And then behind them are 5 16-pointers. Your top 27 are 16 and above. So a draw putting you to 17 points is not going to do it.
Yeah. A lot of pressure to win. A lot of pressure to try to win quickly.
Yep.
So going to the sideboards here, Jacob Thiessen has certainly some relevant action here. He has another copy of Supreme Verdict. He has some negates and some dissipates if he wants to fight over the big creatures or the reanimator stuff. He has a Purify the Grave to help out with the reanimation package.
I also expect some amount of dissipate to come in. He also has negate if he wants it. I certainly expect dissipate.
Yeah. And on the other side we have Toby has Sand of Delirium in his sideboard. Is that the Millstone?
Yeah, that's the X Millstone. Wow.
That's what I thought.
Jeez.
I mean, I have to assume if it's for this.
If it's for any matchup, it's for this matchup.
Right. You can use it on yourself, I guess, to get some of your graveyard shenanigans online. But
sure.
It feels like it's much more of a tool for these sort of slow Thrytos battles.
I assume it's trying to be a pseudo Jace memory adept.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone had played Sands of Delirium in that game, they would have won the game pretty much on the spot. So
yeah, that's true.
I can definitely buy it as being good here.
That. Also, I would expect the other Oblivion Ring, the other Garrick. Maybe he goes aggro with Centaur Healer.
Well, I feel like you can't bring in Sand of Delirium and Centaur Healer.
Yeah, he has to pick a game plan.
Yeah.
And since he's on the play, I might think that he might bring in the Centaur Healers. But I think that the Sands of Delirium play in the long run with Sever the Bloodline probably also.
Yeah. No, I mean, he can... It's hard for Jacob to win quickly. I don't think he has Detention Sphere to get off the table, but
that's about it.
Toby has his own Abrupt Decays and Oblivion Rings to fight over Detention Sphere.
Yeah.
So it's
the few amount of ways that Jacob has to deal with Sands of Delirium comboed with the amount of ways that Toby actually has to deal with the detention sphere. Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah,
I'd be excited to see that plan, actually.
Yeah.
Sands of Delirium is going to be a neat one.
Yeah, I had to assume we're going to be trying to build around that, especially since in this matchup you assume, the Bant deck is probably going to be bringing in more broad sweepers for your creatures, more things to attack your graveyard, sort of taking out your conventional plan.
Yep.
And so if they're bringing in a bunch of cards like that and you just play Sands, that can be...
I think it's a little interesting that he's playing Purify the Grave instead of Rest in Peace, seeing as he does have the Thragtusk Angel Serenity plan. So I guess if he wants to loop it, he can, but I would much rather just have the permanent answer.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to say because I would also be concerned in these decks just actually cutting their reanimation package against you entirely.
Yeah.
And then you have these Rest in Pieces that are actually causing you harm. But yeah, in general, I think Rest in Peace is an overall more productive card. But I can understand being worried about just being stranded.
3 are posted.
I'd seen some Reanimator decks running Seance,
Yeah.
either main deck, which I saw one of our other decks that was doing well today. I don't know how they're doing now, but had a main deck. There was a deck at Walkwood that had Seance. It made top 8, I believe, right?
That sounds right.
I could be wrong, but I think so. And then I'd seen it in a couple sideboards. What do you think about Seance in the future of Reanimator?
It seems like it has a home. Like long term, I'm concerned about. I think where this deck ultimately lies because there's enough sort of free roll ways to, or either free roll or devastating ways to attack the graveyard. And I think that a lot of these decks are going to start to get faster to attack the Bant decks and the Reanimator decks. So I'm not sure if Seance necessarily plugs
the answer.
Yeah,
because it's a 4-mana do nothing the
Right.
turn it comes in.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, I am rooting for a Sands of Delirium. I don't know about
Yeah,
anyone.
me too. That's going to be a nice one.
Yeah.
Oof. Sands of Delirium.
All right, both players taking a mulligan. And the clock that you see is actually the player's clock, not the round clock.
We have about 7 minutes left in the round for everyone else, but here on camera, we have 13.
Yeah, they are set at a delay. So have you been happy with the features you've gotten to do so far today, the deck decks and all that kind of stuff?
I've been reasonably happy. I think that every round today we've had an interesting deck, an interesting personality, an interesting story, give you guys something to talk about.
Yeah.
We've had some good deck techs also. I had John Laux' Grixis Battle of Wits deck.
Yep.
That I think you guys saw on camera for a little bit in round 1.
We got a cameo appearance. Yeah.
I did Travis Wu.
The mono red
with
deck.
the mono red deck, which actually I don't think anybody did really well with the mono red deck.
I talked to Travis during my break last round. He said that he went 3 straight losses after winning on camera in round 1, but that he had some other people in the tournament running deep.
Oh, okay. So. Excellent. Well, hopefully we'll be able to see that. That deck looked awesome.
Yeah.
We've got several artists here this weekend. I got a chance to talk with Franz Vollwinkle already, who's done Oblivion Ring and Glacial Fortress, both featured prominently in this game. Also, Rob Alexander and RK Post are here.
Yeah, RK Post lives in the area, right?
Yes. Actually, Franz lives in West Seattle also.
Okay.
And Rob, I don't know where he lives, but he recently cut his hair. He used to have the big long.
Yeah.
You ever see him at old events when he had like hair down to his back?
Yeah. So
here's the
Jacob
first
is
relevant
missing
play of the
blue.
game.
All right, and there's a Smiter. Farseek off the top for Jacob, which can help him find the blue mana that he's missing.
That's a much better turn 3 play than a turn 17 play.
There's a Hallowed Fountain. So this is another deck that'll subtly improve a little bit with Gatecrash coming out, just because having some breeding pools to go get would also be nice for his deck. All right. Toby in for 4 with the Smiter. And no play, just a Temple Garden. Cavern of Souls, I assume naming Angel. And there's a Thragtusk.
Couldn't have seen that one coming.
think
Toby's going to have 5 mana, and he has Garrick in hand.
Yep.
And
Pretty good spot to stick a Garrick.
Is pretty good, yeah. That's a nice one. Cavern is indeed on Angel. But back to our top story, Garrick Primal Hunter coming down unmolested.
Going into beast mode.
That's right. If you thought Thragtusk made a lot of beasts, you ain't seen nothing yet. I don't think I've seen a Garrick Primal Hunter Ultimate on camera yet.
I have not.
Well, we aren't going to hear. So, Detention Sphere. The Azorius Senate has arrested Garrick and put him inside of the sphere.
Although I believe Toby has Abrupt Decay in hand, so
sure.
We're going to clear that out.
Detention Sphere actually plays an interesting role in the storyline of Return to Ravnica. It actually holds one of the angels in the storyline for a long time, and then she gets busted out at some point, which is kind of neat.
We're about to see Garrick get busted out, I think.
That's right. We're going to decay.
Oh, no, we're just
no, we're not. We're just going to play this and
just
pass.
Passing the turn back.
Does he have Abrupt Decay in him? Oh, he does.
Oh, I think he was just... I think he had a note in his cavern from the last game that he had to take out.
I see. So, beast mode again? Or draw 4?
I would probably beast.
I think I would too. We have both Sphinx's Revelations in hand, so
this game's gonna go on pretty long, and I would not want to just throw away my Garrick if I have the opportunity
I agree.
To draw 4 next turn.
6 mana. What is this?
6 is
no, 4. Sorry, because we already Abrupt Decayed,
sure.
so 5.
No, that was at the end
7.
of the turn.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're just
one of these numbers was right.
Yep.
And there's the Angel of Serenity for Toby this time. That is going to remove the Thragtusk from the path for a time being and allow the 4/4 to rumble in, as well as the Beast. Those are going to trade. Jacob could not trade faster.
Yeah, he was hesitating there for a minute because he was worried about Restoration Angel. But if he was worried about Restoration Angel, he probably should have just attacked first, because then you can sweep that up with your Angel after combat.
Yeah. Jacob does not, in fact, have Restoration Angel in his list, so...
Yeah. It's hard to assume that, though.
Yeah.
Given all the other things we've seen that would lead you to believe.
And Band Control often runs that card, so it's not completely unreasonable. Jace is not going to do it for Jacob here. I mean, he can try it, I guess.
He's still a mana away from being able to resolve an angel of his own.
Yeah. Tameo. That's a significantly better one. Still going to die.
Yeah. Just fog it away.
Yeah.
Now I assume we're going to be Garricking for 5 cards this turn and knocking Tameo out.
And drop Garrick down to 1.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable.
Yep. Just draw 5. Good place to start.
Yep. Yep. Whoever draws more cards usually wins. That usually favors the Band Control player with their Sphinx's Revelations. But when Junk Reanimator can resolve a Garrick on turn 5.
Yeah, and he's actually, a lot of these games are about, overpowering the other person and leveraging your edge or whatever. And Toby's been in the position to do it this time.
He doesn't even have to attack the Tameo.
Yeah.
That subtracts a whole turn from the clock, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 7.
8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it subtracts for exactly if Jacob does not have a creature. Because he's taking 7 here and going to 12, he'll be able to attack for 12.
Standard open competitors, that is time in round 8.
I mean, it is asking a lot for
As your player completes your turn,
Jacob to have nothing.
To have
then
stone nothing, but, it's worth
And
consideration.
there's the troll.
Judges, please find an open match.
Don't feed the trolls, folks.
And Deathrite Shaman.
He's leaving himself way open to Terminus or Supreme Verdict here.
Well, I think the way that he's thinking about the situation is Jacob had it, he would have cast it last turn.
That's true. So Angel's going to take out 3 things.
If you are not currently playing,
Probably.
and you have an
So because he had the Angel
SCGSEA
instead of the Wrath, playing out as many guys as possible was way better.
I think, yeah. I think Toby correctly deduced that he was on Angel Serenity and didn't have a Wrath effect. Even if he does have a Wrath effect, he still has Garrick in play. It's not like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And this gives him the best chance to punch through Angel Serenity as quickly as possible.
Does Toby have an answer for Angel in hand? Does not appear to be so.
Yeah, he looks pretty land heavy.
Yeah. That's a useless Unburial Rights, a pair of lands, and something else that I can't really see right now.
Making a beast with Garrick.
Now the good news for Toby is that if Jacob attacks with the Angel into Garrick, which he will, he's going to force Jacob, well, you know, sometimes you have all the Angels.
Yeah, and again,
it's a miracle.
Jacob can be pretty confident about making this play because Toby had nothing to answer the Angel on the previous turn when it would have been very good for him to do so.
Yep. And once again, Toby, it looked like was going to be able to get there, especially once he drew 5 cards.
Yeah, well, the Angels are worth quite a bit more than a few cards.
Triple Butcher.
Yeah.
Plus, if you don't kill it, it just kills you. Typically like a 4-for-1. Dropping Toby to 10 here from these 5/6s.
Another Thragtusk.
And a Thragtusk of his own.
And a Farseek to...
Because why not?
He's got some mana left over. He's got Sphinx's Revelation, so, you know.
Should things go awry, he can Sphinx's Revelation for 6 next turn.
Hard for things to go that awry.
Yeah. Chromatic Lantern into Insurrection. The Tusks trade once again. There's another land from Toby.
I think he has Unburial Rights.
He has Unburial Rights, yep. On the Thrag
Yeah, that's
Tusk.
why I wasn't actually a huge fan of
blocking?
Jacob's block there, because just turning on this reanimation spell that's likely to be there and not good otherwise.
Yeah, and just dead otherwise.
But I think Jacob's like so far ahead in this game that it's not a huge deal.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, he still has Sphinx's Revelation
and Jace
and Snapcaster left over.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some tools
he does
to work
still
with.
have all of these.
Yes.
So Toby back down to 10.
He just drew his own Angel though.
Oh, that's a good place to start. Never a bad draw.
Yeah, never a bad draw.
I like that tagline. That's a good one. Never a bad draw. Get T-shirts made. Make a fortune.
All right. Well, I want my cut. So.
Well, if by a fortune you mean like
literally dozens of dollars.
Literally dozens.
Literally dozens.
Tens of dollars.
Yeah.
Headed your way.
All right. So.
Angel.
This is going to be a fairly messy
butcher
trigger.
battle. Yeah, this is a rough one. So, does Jacob have the Dissipates in his deck?
They seem fine in this matchup. I mean,
because we can Revelation for 4, try and find a Dissipate, and then Dissipate.
Well,
which is actually just the win.
I mean, these games are super slow. So him not going for the Sphinx's Revelation there, probably, I believe, implies that that's the case.
Yeah.
Although he can just, you know, if he has Supreme Verdict and Terminus, he can just gas up. I mean, he can just Sphinx's Revelation for $1 million.
Yep, he's going to Revelation for 7 here.
Win the game that way.
Dig into a Wrath. Get back both Angels.
That looks like a Terminus there.
That's a Terminus for sure. It's also a Selesnya Charm if he wants to exile the Angel. And another Garrett.
Yeah, the Sphinx's Revelation means that, I mean, it's a dramatic turn for Toby, but it's very hard for Jacob not to find an answer in the infinite cards he's looking at through that Revelation.
There's Terminus. Get rid of everybody.
And now we're at the point where even if Toby were able to win this game, he certainly is not going to be able to win it
in enough time.
Yeah.
In order to win the match. Yeah, Jacob is going to comfortably win 1-0, if not 2-0, I would imagine. Toby is going to need to be play Lingering Souls with Flashback this turn, and then play Craterhoof next turn to win this game.
Yeah. And this is against Jacob's full hand
grip.
card. Yeah.
That he knows includes 2 Angel of Serenities to take out 3 of the tokens if he so chooses.
So there's a Thragtusk.
We didn't get to see Sands of Delirium this game.
It was a disappointment.
That was sad. That would have been so cool.
So that appears that we just hit time.
Yep. The active player will finish their turn. They will be followed by 5 additional turns. Jacob's on turn 0. And with his turn 0, he's going to cast an Angel of Serenity.
So he's turning down a Thragtusk and a Smiter of Toby's and putting a Thragtusk from his graveyard underneath.
Yeah. Beast Factory continues to make 3/3s. Toby is going to be on turn 1. Oh, there's another Thragtusk. Toby's going to be on turn 1, so Jacob will have 2 attack steps. I don't think he's going to need 2 attack steps.
No, I don't think so either.
Unless Toby randomly brought in a Terminus. Which I highly doubt.
I mean, it's possible Toby can keep his head above water and only lose 1-0, but there's no
way for him to win. Yeah.
I think we're counting on mana for Angel of Serenity.
I think so. Taking out the 2 tokens to leave the Thragtusk on the board. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but you really don't want to,
Yeah.
open yourself up to the Thragtusk going back to his hand. This is going to be turn 2.
Another Sphinx's Revelation.
There's an Angel to take out Angel, to get his Angel back.
Compelling and rich.
Yes. So this is just a race to see if Jacob can win 2-0 or 1-0. Very exciting.
Yeah. Garrick's still in beast mode and another Thragtusk.
Now Toby isn't going to be dead once he loses this round, because he will be X1-1. He will still probably have a play-in next round.
Yeah.
The math is a little wonky because of how many 18-pointers we have. But I don't think, because pretty much nobody's going to be able to draw from the X1s.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if any of them could draw from the X1s. And so X1-1 depending on how early his first draw was, is going to be a bit of a problem.
I mean, some number, at least one X1-1 makes it, right?
Yes.
It's safe to assume, so.
But if he got a real early draw,
then he's probably done.
He's in deep. For example, we have Joe Lassette on the standings here, who lost round 1 to Travis Wu.
Who then went on to lose his next 3 rounds.
Right, and Joe hasn't lost since.
Yeah.
So he's sitting on 18 points, but he's in 22nd currently.
Yeah.
Because of that early loss.
Some people must just be personally opposed to conceding.
Yeah.
And just, if I was Toby, man, running my head into the wall with this would just be, I would have been done with this 10 minutes ago.
Yep, and there it is.
All right.
For Xaxes, got you with Selesnya Charm.
So Jacob Thiessen wins 2-0 with Band Control. Even though that's one of the big decks of the format, certainly his take on the list is a lot different than a lot of the decks we've seen before.
Yeah, the Selesnya Charms certainly are not a traditional choice. The low number of Terminus,
yeah,
I think is interesting as well. He's got 3 Sphinx's Revelation, which is a little bit high, but
Yeah.
it lends to that card's popularity.
With his deck going as deep as it is and having no counter spells in his deck,